You keep saying one day. That's why you're losing. Welcome to Dr. Eric T. Motivation Corner. Let me tell you something uncomfortable right now. One day is not hope. It's not patience. It's not planning. One day is how you avoid responsibility without admitting you're scared. You keep saying one day and calling it ambition, but your life calls it delay. And delay is why you're losing that reality check. One day sounds safe. One day I'll get serious. One day I'll change. One day I'll lock in. One day I'll start. Notice something? One day has no date, pressure, accountability. One day never demands action. That's why your brain loves it. .com moment. Let this land not yelling it, and I want you to really hear this, that are not lazy all the time, that you're just addicted to postponing discomfort. One day gives you relief without requiring effort. And that relief is costing you your future, the micro story. The promise you keep you told yourself last year. This year will be different. January came. You felt motivated. By March, back to old habits. Now it's another year. Same promises, same routine, different excuses. One day didn't save you. IT stalled you. Hard truth. Losing ISKU. Think losing looks dramatic. IT doesn't. Losing looks like staying busy but not progressing, talking about plans but never executing, watching others pass. You quietly know alarms warnings. Just time moving forward without you. Pattern interrupt. Direct cues. Ton. How long have you been saying one day? Months? Years? And what has actually changed? Answer that honestly. Explosive. One day. A lie. You agreed. Nobody forced you to say it. You chose it because one day lets you avoid starting, avoid failing, avoid looking unprepared. It keeps your potential imaginary. And imaginary potential feels better than real effort.com. This is why starting feels why starting means. Your excuses disappear, your discipline gets tested, your self-image gets challenged. As long as you say one day, you don't have to. Face reality. But reality doesn't wait. Micro story. The missed into you had a free hour today. You felt it. That quiet moment where you could have learned, built, planned, trained. You told yourself, I'll do it later. Later didn't come. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern. Geo check. You're not behind you're not behind because you lack talent. You're behind because you delay decisions. Every time you say one day, someone else says today, and they don't need more ability than you. They just move sooner.com moment. And no judgment, just isn't about shame, that it's about honesty. You don't need more time. You need fewer delays. Time keeps moving whether you act or not. Explosive. The real cost of one day costs you. Momentum, confidence, self-respect, because deep down, you know you're avoiding the work. And every avoided action weakens your belief in yourself. Micro story. Confidence, confidence doesn't disappear overnight. IT fades. Every promise you break to yourself chips it away until one day you stop trusting your own word. That's dangerous. Pattern interrupt. Hard keys. Tone. If you keep living exactly like this, where will one day take you? Be real. Control. Calm. Ownership into you. Don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a decision. One day is indecision dressed up as hope. Explosive. This is why you're LOS and G-read and not losing, because you're weak. You're losing because you delay action. You negotiate with comfort. You wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Action creates clarity. Not thinking that end of part one. Pressure I see to listen carefully. One day is not coming, it never has. There is only today, now, this moment, and every time you delay it, you lose ground. Part two, waiting is not patience, it's fear, in disguise or entry. This is where waiting gets then stop the video. That tells me something. Because most people get uncomfortable right here, and they run. This part isn't loud yet. This part is sharp. Because the real reason you keep saying one day isn't laziness, that it's fear. Calm truth. Waiting sounds responsible. You tell yourself, I'm just being patient. I'm waiting for the right time. I want to be ready. That sounds smart. That sounds grown. But let's be honest that you've been waiting for years. At some point, waiting stops being strategy and starts being avoidance. The difference, you avoid patience is active. Waiting is passive. Patience works while it waits. Waiting sleeps. Patience prepares. Waiting postpones that you're not being patient, that you're hiding that micro story. The invisible though you see someone your age winning. You say they got lucky. They had help. They started earlier. What you don't say is the truth. They started while I was waiting. Same fear, different response, pattern interrupt. Hard and how many opportunities did you miss because you wanted to feel ready first? Think carefully, explosive. Ready is nobody starts ready. Ready is a myth. People start. Confused, uncertain, underprepared clarity comes after action. But you're waiting for clarity before you move. That's backwards.com. Why starting terrifies, why starting removes excuses. Once you start, you can't blame confusion, you can't hide behind planning, you can't pretend. Any more starting puts your self-image at risk. And protecting your ego has been more important than progress. Micro story. The draft you never you start something small. You stop halfway. You say, I'll finish it later. Later never comes. Why? Because finishing would expose your level. And you're scared it won't be impressive. SOU delay. .ego check. Potential IS of elite potential feels good. As long as you don't act. You can believe you're special. Action tests that belief. That's why you protect one day. It keeps your potential untouched. But untouched potential is wasted potential. Explosive. You're losing is until losing isn't loud. IT looks like. Being busy but stagnant, improving nothing year after year, explaining instead of executing. You don't fall behind overnight. You drift. Calm moment. This is why time feels time feels fast, because nothing is changing. Same routine, same habits, same comfort. Progress slows time. Stagnation speeds it up. That's why years disappear. Micro story. The same year. REP last year felt long. This year flew by. Why? Because nothing new happened. In growth. In stretch. You replayed the same year. Pattern interrupt. Truth if nothing changes, where exactly are you headed? Don't answer emotionally. Answer realistically at the right time. NYTH, there is no calm season. There is no perfect window. Life doesn't clear space for your goals. There will always be stress, distractions, problems, people who don't wait for peace. They build through chaos. Explosive. Someone else is. I'm moving while you wait. Someone else is starting messy. Someone else is learning publicly. Someone else is failing forward. They don't feel braver than you, they're just less patient with delay.com. This is about you. The urgency isn't panic. Urgency is respect for time. You don't respect time yet. You assume it'll be there that T1 micro story. The next month, or you say, next month I'll lock in. Next month becomes next season. Next season becomes next year. Same promises, same outcomes. The calendar keeps winning. Ego check. An O1 owes you 10 mil life, doesn't owe you extra chances. Youth doesn't owe you more years. Talent doesn't owe you success. Everything must be claimed. Explosive. Decisions create into you momentum. Doesn't come from motivation. It comes from decisions. Small, uncomfortable, immediate. Waiting kills momentum. Action creates it. Calm. On this part 2, you don't need to change everything. Today, you need to stop delaying one thing. Point 1 action, point 1 decision, point 1 uncomfortable move. That breaks the cycle. Micro story. The first the first workout hurts. The first page is ugly. The first attempt feels stupid. That's normal. What's not normally is waiting years to begin. Pattern interrupt. Final keys 10. If you don't act now, what exactly are you waiting for? Be specific. Explosive. This is why your LOS and GU keep saying one day, because it delays discomfort. But discomfort is the price of growth. No payment, no progress. Control calm. DCHFT from this point forward. One day is banned. You don't say it. You don't think it. You replace it with action. Not big, not perfect, immediate. In a part 2, pressure locked. One day isn't coming to save you. IT never has. There is only today, now, this moment, and right now. You either move or you keep losing quietly. Reentry. This is the turning point. Up to now, we exposed. Delay, fear, waiting, fake patience. This part is different. This part isn't about what's wrong with you. It's about what has to change immediately if you don't want to stay stuck. Because understanding the problem doesn't change your life. Action does. Calm truth. Most people never cross this. Most people feel inspired, feel exposed, feel uncomfortable, then they go right back to normal. Why? Because change threatens identity, and identity fights back. Heart, the real reason you keep waiting. Let's get honest. You don't keep saying one day because you're unsure. You keep saying one day because it lets you keep the same habits. It lets you avoid discipline. It lets you stay familiar. Waiting protect your current identity. And your current identity, it's comfortable, but it's costing you everything. Micro story. The old you already know who you are right now. You delay, you negotiate, you talk yourself out of effort, you start strong and fade fast. That version of you feels normal. That's the problem. Pattern erupt. Hard cue is tone. If you keep being the same person, why would your life change? Be honest. Discipline is an identity, not do this is where people mess up. They treat discipline like a feeling. I'll be disciplined when I feel ready. I'll be disciplined when motivation hits. No, discipline is a decision you repeat, that it's not emotional, that it's mechanical. You do the work because that's who you are now. Calm. How identity actually, identity doesn't change with speeches. It changes with evidence. Small actions. Repeated daily. Every time you act, you vote for a new version of yourself. Every time you delay, you reinforce the old one. You're always becoming something. The question is what? Micro story. The first heart alarm goes off early. Your mind says, just today, sleep more. You get up anyway. That moment, that's not productivity, that's identity formation. You just proved something to yourself. Explosive. You don't rise. You don't rise to goals. You fall to habits. And your habits right now, they're built around delay. Your life reflects delay. Calm. Why discipline feels, discipline feels unnatural because you trained yourself to avoid discomfort, you trained yourself to seek ease, you trained yourself to quit early. Of course, discipline feels foreign. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it's new. Micro story. The first 30 days, first week, resistance. Second week, frustration. Third week, doubt. Fourth week, strength. Most people quit in week 1. They never let discipline settle. Pattern interrupt. Truth of discipline feels hard. It's because comfort trained you well that you're not unmotivated. You intending to let's kill this excuse. You don't lack motivation. You lack conditioning. You haven't trained. Focus, consistency, follow through. So when things get hard, you collapse. That's not personality. That's practice. That explosive. Training training is boring. Repetition is boring. Consistency is boring. And boring builds killers. Entertainment builds spectators. You choose every day which one you are. .com. Stop trying to feel already doesn't come first. Action comes first. You don't wait to feel confident. You act until confidence follows. Every winner learned that early. Micro story. The ugliest your first attempt will be ugly. Your first result will be weak. Your first effort will feel embarrassing. Good. That's proof you started. Pattern interrupt. Reality. You don't regret starting too early. You regret starting too late. You must force momentum doesn't arrive. You force it with non-negotiable routines fixed, start times, fewer decisions. Waiting for momentum is a trap. Movement creates momentum.com. Simplify your life. You don't need more plans. You need fewer choices. Same wake-up time. Same work block. Same daily. Effort. Complexity feeds delay. Simplicity feeds execution. Micro story. One you make one rule. No 0 days. No matter how small, you do something. That rule changes everything. That explosive. This is how people separation doesn't happen with talent. That IT happens when you show up tired, you work bored, you stay consistent. That's where most people disappear. .com. Let this I don't need to be extreme. You need to be reliable. Reliable beats intense. Reliable beats gifted. Reliable wins. Pattern interrupt. Hard keys 10. Can you trust yourself to do what you say? If not, that's the real problem. Rebuilding self. TRUST. Self-trust isn't a mindset that it's earned. You earn it by keeping small promises, finishing tasks, showing up daily. Every kept promise rebuilds confidence. That explosive. Talk you talked enough, that you've planned enough, that you've waited enough, that you said one day, enough that some point. Delay becomes disrespect.com. This is the SHFT from now on. You don't say one day. You say today for 30 minutes. You don't aim for perfect. You aim for done. You don't wait for motivation. You act on principle. Micro story. A day isn't special, but that's why it works. You don't need a big moment. You need a normal day with discipline. That's how lives change. That explosive. Final truth of part 3. The moment you stop waiting, you start winning. Not publicly, not instantly, internally first. And internal wins compound. End of part 3. Pressure held one day is gone. There is no someday version of you. There's only what you do now. And now is where separation begins. This is not a motivational ending. This is a decision ending. Because after everything you've heard, if nothing changes, that's not confusion anymore. That's a choice that, let's get this straight, one day is dead. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. You don't get to carry it with you anymore because one day has already stolen years of your life confidence. You never rebuilt opportunities you can't get back. And if you keep it alive, it will take more the brutal identity you don't act based on goals. You act based on identity. Right now, your identity says, I delay, I wait, I start later. So your behavior follows that if you want a different life, you need a different standard, not motivation, not inspiration, standards that your newest D from this moment forward. You act when it's uncomfortable, you move before you feel ready, you do the work even when it feels pointless, you stop negotiating with your emotions, no debates, and internal arguments. Because every time you argue with discipline, discipline loses that calm moment. Read this SLO, you don't need to fix your whole life. You need to stop lying to yourself about when you'll start. That's it. The most dangerous moment of your day, it's not when you're tired. It's not when you're stressed. It's when you say, I'll do it later. That sentence has ended more dreams than failure ever could. From now on, later means now or never. Micro story. The moment that defines you. You finish this video. Your phone is still in your hand. This is the moment. Not tomorrow morning, not Monday, not next month, this moment right here. Most people will scroll, save the video, feel something that nothing, that's losing behavior. Final thing, you don't lose because you can't win. You lose because you keep waiting for a version of yourself that only exists after action. One day is over. There is only today, now, this decision.